Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming out. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you again, and I'm excited about the announcements that I'm about to make in terms of individuals coming on to serve the administration, to serve the state of Louisiana. I know that we are finding very committed, capable, competent public servants who will go about the business of serving the state of Louisiana and moving Louisiana forward and always putting Louisiana first. So the way this will go, I'm going to announce the appointments, and then at the end, we will have those announcements. We'll have 4 individuals who will come up, cabinet-level appointees, who will offer short remarks, and then Senator Nevers, the chief of staff, will come up with a couple of announcements of his own, and then we will open it up for questions. I am pleased to announce that as Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals, I've chosen Dr. Rebekah Gee. She's the Medicaid Medical Director for the state of Louisiana currently. She is also an Assistant Professor of Health Policy and Management at Louisiana State University. In 2010, Dr. Gee was named Director of the Birth Outcomes Initiative, an Assistant Secretary level position in Louisiana's Department of Health and Hospitals, aimed at improving the health of Louisiana's women and children. And Dr. Gee, welcome to the administration. Thank you very much for accepting. As Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, I've selected Dr. Chuck Carr Brown. Currently serves as the President and CEO of Brown and Associates, a private global environmental consulting service firm based here in Baton Rouge. He also serves as the Vice President of Metro Services Group, a firm with expertise and certifications in the areas of environmental services, construction, demolition, and disaster response and recovery that's located in New Orleans. He's got over 34 years of experience in environmental regulation, project management, emergency response, risk analysis, research, governmental relations, and waste management. So Dr. Chuck Carr Brown, welcome. I didn't mention it, but he is also from Amite, Louisiana. That's right. Secretary of Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections is Mr. Jimmy LeBlanc. Will be staying in that position. He currently serves as a secretary. He's worked to promote public safety strategies aimed at reducing victimization, improving public safety, and reducing the cost of incarceration while focusing on improving education, job skills, and character-based training to reduce the rate of recidivism. He's previously served as Undersecretary of the Department of Public Safety and Correction and as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Division of Enterprises. So, Jimmy LeBlanc, welcome. I don't know if welcome is the right word because you're already there, but thank you for continuing to serve. As the Executive Assistant to the Governor for Coastal Activities, or CPRA, I am announcing today that I've selected Mr. Johnny Bradbury to serve in that capacity. He is presently the Vice President of Business Development for Volkert, a 90-year-old multidisciplinary engineering and environmental firm with 30 offices across the southeastern United States, including 4 locations in Louisiana. Johnny previously served as the Chief Operating Officer of Topcore Companies and President of Topcore Services. He also previously served as the Secretary for the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development during the administration of Governor Blanco. So, Johnny, thank you very much for joining the administration in that capacity. And joining us as the Director of the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness is Jim Wascom. Jim is a retired colonel in the United States Army. He served for 33 years. He served 3 combat tours during Operations Desert Storm and Iraqi Freedom/New Dawn, totaling 30 months in the combat zone. He's a former prosecutor in the 19th Judicial District and Inspector General of the Louisiana National Guard. So, Jim, where you at? There you are, Jim. Thank you very much for joining us in this administration. Also named today as Executive Director of the Louisiana Workforce Commission is Ava Dajwa. She is currently with the Workforce Commission and in the Workforce Development Executive with 15 years of leadership experience in public administration and workforce development. She's also headed up the statewide Rapid Response Coordinator for Louisiana Workforce Commission since 2012. She's worked as the business liaison for the Louisiana Department of Education, and she is a graduate of Loyola University in New Orleans. So, Ava, thank you very much for joining us in administration. Also announcing today that Senator Robert Adley is not going to be leaving Baton Rouge as quickly as he might have thought just a few months ago. But he is going to be the Executive Director of the Louisiana Offshore Terminal Authority, or LOTA. As you all may know, he served 3 terms in the Louisiana State Senate, representing District 36 since 2003. And was in the House of Representatives before that, representing District 8 from 1979 to 1995. Most recently, he chaired the Senate Committee on Transportation, Highways, and Public Works. He is a United States Marine Corps veteran, and he served in the Vietnam War. He has a long history of working in the oil and gas industry and is the president of Pelican Gas Management, which he has owned since 1993. So, Senator Adley, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for your military service as well. Staying in service to the state of Louisiana as Fire Marshal will be Butch Browning. He was appointed to Louisiana State Fire Marshal position on March the 8th of 2008. He served at all levels in fire service, entering public service as a sheriff's deputy for East Baton Rouge in 1986. He taught firefighting techniques as an adjunct professor at LSU from 1987 to 1998. He served as the assistant fire chief for the District 6 Fire Department in Baton Rouge from 1987 to 1998. And prior to his appointment as State Fire Marshal, he proudly served the city of Gonzales as its fire chief starting in 2001. So Butch Browning, thank you very much for joining the administration. And as the Executive Director of the Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement and Administration of Criminal Justice, we have joining us Chief Jim Kraft, a 39-year veteran of the Lafayette Police Department. In January of 2007, he was named Chief of the Lafayette Police Department. During 18 years, he worked as an investigator and supervisor in criminal investigations. He was involved in over 1,500 major felony cases. So he brings a wealth of experience and knowledge to that position. So Jim Kraft, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate you being here today. I also have 3 members that I'm naming to the Bessie Board today, and so that we can get them in place. I think they have a meeting scheduled for Tuesday of next week, and I know that some in the media were wondering whether my appointees would be at that meeting or not. They certainly will be. We have Lurie Thomason Jr., whom I'm naming. He's been at Grambling State University since 1995 as a tenured assistant professor in the Criminal Justice Department. Over the years, he's taught and advised students and provided services to the university and established student development programs. So, Dr. Thomason, thank you very much for joining us today and joining us the Bessie Board. We also have Thomas Rock, who is currently the superintendent of Catholic schools for the Diocese of Alexandria. He oversees 8 schools with an enrollment of 2,400 students, 300 teachers, and support staff. He previously served as the Assistant Superintendent of Administration in Rapides Parish from 1997 to 2010, and he worked in various capacities at the Louisiana School for Math, Sciences, and Arts for 11 years. So, Mr. Rock, thank you very much for joining the Bessie Board as well and continuing to serve kids in that capacity. And finally, with respect to the Bessie Board, we have Superintendent Doris Boucher of the St. Bernard School System, where she was appointed superintendent on August the 10th of 2004 and led that parish's school system through a very, very difficult time with respect to the hurricanes, especially Hurricane Katrina. And she has been recently a president of the Louisiana Superintendents Association. And I have gotten to know her extremely well because I've spent the last 8 years on the Education Committee in the House of Representatives, where she has appeared numerous times to testify. She's a graduate of the Mount Carmel Academy in New Orleans, and she completed her student teaching at Chalmette High School and remained on staff as a teacher there upon her graduation from the University of New Orleans. So those are the announcements that I have today. As you can see, I continue to live up to my pledge to stand up a team to serve Louisiana that looks like the state of Louisiana, with professional, competent, qualified people who are going to make excellent public servants who are always going to put Louisiana first. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Gee, Dr. Brown, Jimmy LeBlanc, and Jim Wascom to come up and make some short remarks, and they will be followed by Ben Nevers, who have some announcements of his own.
Great. Thank you, Governor-elect, for putting your faith in me, and thank you to my husband, David, my children, Ben, Ellie, and Nathan, Elizabeth, and Ava, for everything you've done to support me and all of your love. As we enter 2016, we have some incredible challenges. We are in the midst of one of the greatest budget crises in our state's history, but our health is a great challenge. We have just fallen to 50th in the ranking of United Health Rankings, the worst state in the nation, even below Mississippi, that used to be the only state that was worse than us. And so we've got to solve those challenges, and we've got to do it in creative ways that are new and different. We know that we have one of the worst rates of babies dying before year 1 in the nation, actually in the developed world. We have serious threats to our health. We have child poverty. We have increasing crime in many of our urban areas. We have serious threats to public health that include increasing chronic disease and infectious disease in our communities. And over the past several years, some of these areas have worsened and become even more endangered. But in every crisis, there is an opportunity, and there is hope. The governor-elect and I are both optimists. We believe we can do better, and with hope comes possibility. With our optimism, we can dream, and we can make dreams a reality. In the first days of the administration, we will make the dream of access to quality health care a reality by expanding Medicaid to our working folks. This is an incredibly important thing to do. People like a patient I saw last year who are working folks, couldn't afford, were too wealthy to afford Medicaid, to get on Medicaid, but couldn't afford health insurance and needed to save up for things they needed for their families, couldn't buy health insurance. I had a patient who needed a mammogram but had expenses for her kids, didn't get it. By the time she saved up enough money, there was advanced cancer, and who knows, at this point probably she may not make it. So these types of stories we're not going to hear as much in this administration, because we have compassion. With Medicaid expansion, Louisianans like her will no longer be faced with this terrible choice between their health and their financial security. My personal story is one of resilience and optimism. 8 years ago, I was in a terrible accident that killed my first husband, Alan. I spent 3 months in a wheelchair. I had a paralyzed left arm, and I spent several months in rehab learning how to walk again. During those difficult times each day, I would wake up and believe that I could do better. Through hard work and perseverance, I learned to dance again. Louisiana, despite our persistent challenges of poverty and unpredictable natural disasters, has never stopped dancing. Whether a second line, a Zydeco, or a Cajun two-step, our resilience is what makes us strong, what makes us Louisiana. We will combine the strength of that resilience with the optimism of new ideas and change the course of health in our state. I pledge to you that I will use all of the skills and experience I've gained as a physician, a patient, a parent, and a policymaker to do everything I can to improve the lives and health of the people in this great state. I'm honored that Governor-elect John Bel Edwards has chosen me to help Louisiana take this journey and look forward to that fast approaching day when our dream of a healthier, happier Louisiana is a reality. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just want to, first of all, thank the Governor-elect for placing his confidence in me. We are from Amet. He was a little kid, of course, when I was there. But I mentioned to him that I would even consider a spot like this because it'd be a public service and a service to him and a service to the citizens of Louisiana. As I take over LDEQ, we will continue our mission to protect human health and the environment. I've been there before, 4 years under the Blanco administration. A little storm called Katrina and another one called Rita just happened to hit this great state. And by the short straw, I dealt with all of the issues that were associated with those hurricanes. In the years since, we've responded on the private side to every event, just most recently in South Carolina with the floods. So I bring experience to the job. We're going to motivate our workforce. We're going to do everything. We're going to embrace all the stakeholders that have a stake in the health and our environment in Louisiana. And I just look forward to the challenge. Again, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. I too appreciate the opportunity to serve in your administration, and of course, working with the people that you see up here is so important. If there's anything that I've learned over the last 8 years is that collaboration is the key to accomplishing your goals. And getting out of our silos and working with our other agencies and working with our communities and our partners in our communities. That is so important. And I'm so proud to represent the department and 4,800 employees of our department. We have administrative, clerical staff, medical staff, classification staff, record staff, maintenance staff, food service staff that do a great job. But in particular, our correctional officers and our probation and parole agents, there's 3,500 of them working behind the fences, working in our communities to make our communities safe and of course, you safe. Public safety is our #1 mission. They don't get enough recognition, and I certainly would like to give them that recognition today. It's well known about the elephant in the room, about the highest incarceration in the world, the state capital of incarceration, and it's been talked about long enough, and I know that the governor and I are on the same page. We've had conversations during his campaign and since he's been elected on where we need to be, and I understand what he wants to do. The good news is that we have accomplished some things, and you don't read a lot about it. Our prison population is down 4,160 as at the end of this past calendar year. 4,160. That's 3 big prisons. And we are accomplishing that task through these employees that I'm talking about. It's so important for everybody to understand that. We ranked 4th in the nation in prison reduction at the end of 2014, 4th in the country. You know, we hear a lot about Texas and what they're doing, but Texas is behind us in percentage of reduction in incarceration. And 2015 was a good year, so when those numbers come out, I expect that we'll be higher than 4th in the country. And I really believe that has a lot to do with the governor thinking that I'm a good choice. I hope that's the reason anyway, that I'm doing a pretty good job in that regard. And I say I mean our department, the people that work in our department, because we have a lot of good people that are working in our department. The most important part about those numbers is the people behind those numbers, that are people that are staying out of prison, that are working, taxpayers, and doing the right thing. That's the key. And that's, again, public safety. That's what it means. Less crime victims. And that, again, is so important. We look forward to more successes. I would channel you to House Concurrent Resolution 82, which was done by Speaker Pro Tem Leger in the 15th session, which actually allows us to start meeting as early as March and no later than July. That will be the focal point, in my opinion, of what, and the governor and I have had that conversation, will be the focal point of where we move forward with our department. That is the Justice Reinvestment Task Force is the name of the task force that's going to be established. Similar makeup as the Sentencing Commission was over the last several years, but I think our task is pretty short term. We are to have a package ready for the 2017 legislative session. And again, I look forward to that. And as I've said many a times, you know, we don't get out of this overnight, and it's going to take some time to get out of it. It's a cultural issue, and we're working on that, and I think, again, we've made a lot of success. There's plenty of work to be done, and our department is ready to step up to the plate. Forward, Louisiana. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much, Governor-elect Edwards. I'm humbled and honored that you would ask me to serve, and I'm, excuse me, proud to serve. For the last 14 years, I worked for the National Guard, mostly in Lafayette and Abbeville. So I've been side by side with GOSEP, working hand in hand with those folks over there. I know a lot of them that work there now. And I wasn't here for Katrina. I was in a little place called Baghdad, but I got back in time for Rita and have been involved with just about every disaster since then, except BP oil spill. I was in Baghdad again. So, but nevertheless, you know, a lot of people ask me what my philosophy is on emergency preparedness, emergency management, and there seemed to be a theme in some of the questions that were asked. It all starts at the local level, ladies and gentlemen, and I pledge to you, I won't sit behind the desk here in Baton Rouge. I'll get out and visit the regions, the 4 regions throughout the state, and work with the local officials, those sheriffs and police chiefs and fire chiefs that are out there on the front lines when something happens. Again, Governor-elect, thank you very much. I'm honored, and I look forward to serving the people of Louisiana.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor, and certainly I have 2 appointments that will be added to the Chief of Staff's office, the executive staff. Senior Policy Advisor for the Governor's office, Jeannie Johnson, who I've known for many years and served in the legislature with for many years. She has over 30 years of experience in education policy, serving in both the executive and legislative branches. She began developing her policy expertise in the House of Representatives in 1982 and moved to the Senate in 1984. She served as a legislative liaison and director of special projects for the Louisiana Department of Education from 2000 to 2007. She returned to the Senate in 2007, where she currently serves as the chief legislative researcher and primary staff for the Senate Education Committee. Welcome, Jeannie. I also have the senior special assistant to the governor, Alicia Williams. She's certainly a native of Grambling, Louisiana. We welcome you on board. She served in the United States Army National Guard. She served 2 senators from Louisiana, Senator Mary Landrieu and Senator J. Bennett Johnson. She served with Lieutenant Governor Melinda Swagman. She will work with the Chief of Staff and the Governor on a variety of issues, including special projects. Thank you very much, Governor.
There's not a problem we won't fix. And when you say we're going to expand the Medicaid program the first day, we will set in motion the Medicaid expansion very early on. It may actually be the second day. But within 24 hours of being sworn in, we will issue the executive order, is my expectation. And that will start the process of expansion, which we believe we will do on July 1st of 2016. So that's the timeline we're looking at, and there is not a challenge there that we won't meet and overcome because it's too important for the state. And maintaining the status quo, and you all heard me say this throughout the campaign, the facts have not changed. Maintaining the status quo is not possible. DSH reductions loom on the horizon, not too far out. And if we don't expand the Medicaid program on the one hand while we can, and we suffer those DSH reductions on the other, we have no way to deliver health services, not just for the Medicaid population, but when hospitals and emergency rooms close, they close for everybody. We can't afford that. We're going to expand the Medicaid program, and we will actually save money in the process.